Okay.
Yeah, last week we lost one of our own, so if everybody could bow their heads. Dear Heavenly Father, today we would like to pray to the parents, family, and friends of the Geauga County Marine Sergeant Wolfgang Kyle Wenninger. He was killed June 16th during a training jump at Fort Benning, Georgia. Governor Mike DeWine has ordered that all the United States and Ohio flags be flown at half-staff on all public buildings and on grounds throughout Geauga County and at the Ohio State House. Sergeant Wenninger was only 28 years old, a 2010 Kenston graduate where he excelled in football and ice hockey. Dear Lord, please watch over his parents during this tragedy. In memory of your son, the love you had with you is something can never be taken away. Hold on to that and know that they are there with you always. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near. For those who would disrespect our flag have never been handed a folded one. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Jim. Also, just to keep in our prayers, also Thomas Dewey from the Sheriff's Office, and also almost 50 years of fire service, passed away, and also Dr. Takis, who is a staple within our county here in our communities. A great doctor that passed away with Lou Gehrig's disease. So, okay, so if we can go ahead, then we've got itemizing the financials for the meeting here.
Yes. So today's financials include an appropriations transfer from the general fund to the sheriff's salary account to reimburse for ICE transports. There's also a cash transfer from JFS in transit for partial payments on their 2020 cost allocations. Among the encumbrances are a contract PO increase from Water Resources for Quasar Energy Group LLC for sludge disposal. Then and now from DES to Sam Asher Computing Services Incorporated for HyperReach iPause emergency notification system invoice that was not previously encumbered, and a travel request from engineering for maintenance welding training in Columbus, Ohio. Among the vouchers are $5,000 from the engineer's office to Dennis Kellogg for a .231 acres easement along Taylor Wells for the roadway realignment project. $32,000 from JFS for mental health for April through June therapeutic services, and $19,554.48 from GPD for engineering services related to the Auburn Corners and Troy Oaks expansion and conversion projects.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
Aye. Thanks, Adrian. And your report?
Morning. Nice to be here again, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us. Had a number of things that we wanted to update you on as far as going on at the airport. It seems like everything all this is happening all of a sudden. We've got 2 grants that we've applied for this year, one through the CARES Act, the second for a runway apron and other rehabilitation. And as you know, the FAA has changed the way that they are doing business this year, and ODOT has informed us that they are going to be changing as well. The FAA grants are 100% funded by FAA, so there's no local match this year. So that's a benefit to everyone here as well. And then I believe we're going to discuss that further down on your agenda. The second item is we came to you before and mentioned that we were looking into developing a new set of T-hangers at the airport. We have just received notification from the FAA that that project can move forward. So the next steps, basically the rundown on that is it's going to be at the westmost area. Those ramps and taxi lanes were put in quite a while ago. So all the infrastructure at the airport is there, so it's just a matter of building the building itself. We have a firm commitment in the form of $500 non-refundable deposits from 10 people to occupy the 10-unit building. I also have a couple of other people that were interested in having one of those units, or if we go forward, to build the second one down the road at some point. We haven't collected deposits from those people. Our intention is to borrow money from the state infrastructure bank to build this project and have it be self-funded through the rents that are generated. The initial estimates of the cost to build that is $516,825. Because of your ownership of the property of the airport, we'll need the board as co-signers on that state loan. However, we hope that is going to be completely self-funded. At full capacity, the new T hangars will earn approximately $44,880 a year, and we estimate the annual financing cost to be $34,000. So we do have a nice cushion in there.
Sure.
Full occupancy. Our next step is to be put together a pro forma bid package to confirm those costs before we actually apply for the loan. And so I guess what we're asking is for your blessing to go forward with that process. The next item, and I believe this is further on the agenda, is PHI lease acknowledgement. And then also there's a land lease for the fuel provider for PHI. We're still in the process of preparing that.
Okay.
But that's going to simply be a changeover from the lease that they had with providing fuel for the previous vendor.
So did you need a motion on the approval on the hangar today or project, or is that something that you're gonna put together for us at a later time?
If you're ready to make a motion on it, I know with
As
Mr.
far as the
Lennon,
co-signing for that?
that won't be till further down the road.
Okay, okay.
But we'd just like to have yours somewhat of approval to pursue that.
Yeah, I mean, I fully would support that. I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Swett?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, I guess the next thing is the signatures for the
For the-
FAA grants.
Correct. So,
I guess
so
that's a change.
so the changes are gonna basically be that Chip will not be able to sign.
He
that
already
one.
signed on behalf of the airport
Okay.
authority, so the original agenda went out was to authorize Chip to do it, he already signed on behalf of the airport authority.
Okay,
The revised agenda says that we're authorizing the president of the board,
okay,
the commissioners, to then do the electronic signature and submit the grant.
okay,
It has to take place on the computer that the email was received into, which is mine.
okay.
So when Tim is available, he can sign it and submit it in front of Jerry and I
Okay.
at my desk.
And that has to be in by Monday though, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you've made arrangements as far as that Tim is on board, as far as knowing that that's just got to be done, correct, Jerry?
He will when he gets here.
Okay. All right, as long as,
Mentioned to him before me,
So-
just is running.
yeah, just because I know that deadline is pretty strict and, you know,
Correct.
so what is that? They're basically a 5% match, and we would basically,
No,
zero match.
it's
Zero match.
CARES
Nice.
Act is zero matches.
Yeah,
Up
this
to
year,
30,000.
all FAA grants. And this is, this first one is for the CARES Act.
Yeah,
That was enacted back in March.
okay,
And then there will be another one of those coming forward pretty much any day. We put in last Monday our formal application for the grant.
okay.
So I just wanted you guys to be aware that that is coming as well.
And as far as the medical evac contract, then you guys will have that by when you think, I finalize it right there. So, so.
It's ready for you to
so
sign.
in, as far as that, have you guys restarted the term with the new company?
Yes, it's, their official term starts, actually, I believe it started May 1st.
Okay.
Because
And
that's when they started
everything's been
operating.
pretty successful with the transition has been good.
It's been a little bit slower than we anticipated with
Okay.
the previous vendor vacating the premises. I was informed yesterday that they are finished except for just a couple of items, a couple of maintenance items. the crew quarters, we turned over to PHI yesterday.
Okay, so they're out of the trailers then?
They're in that process of moving out of those trailers.
Okay.
And I expect those to be done hopefully by the end of the week.
Nice, good, yeah, good job on that for sure.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
And then, once we get the PHI lease, we're gonna look at it at our board meeting. I'll come back
Okay.
and bring that to you.
all right. So then, I'll make a motion for the PHI lease.
That's number 3.
Right, that's fine. And then, if you could just keep us up to date a little bit, you know, maybe in say about another quarter or something, if you could give us a little bit of an update where we're at with some of the changes and some of the, you know, updates on the moves and also on that hangar project. Hopefully we'll be hearing from you pretty soon, so.
Yes.
Give me a second.
Second motion.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
So that's number 3.
Okay,
And number 4 is the resolution to authorize Tim to execute and submit the CARES Act.
okay, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. I'll tell you, Rick, you're doing a phenomenal job down there. It's just such a breath of fresh air having you there. You're doing a great job, and just keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And nothing but, you know, great compliments coming from all, you know, everybody that's down there seeing the changes.
I'm doing this for the county.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate your hard work. Seriously, it's been great.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your time this morning.
No, thanks for coming down. It's great to just, you know, hear the, you know, progress and, you know, in action.
I feel like I've installed this last 3 months.
Yeah. Come out of hibernation now, right?
Yes.
Well, I enjoy your newsletter, Rick.
Yeah.
Hangar Talks.
Yeah.
It brings us up to date, so that's new and fresh,
Very
that's
nice.
good.
And I think that's fresh in the whole field.
Yeah.
I'm giving us, I probably should
Yep.
tell you that I'm giving a talk on our social media and web campaigns to the Ohio Aviation Conference in September.
Okay,
I've been asked to speak.
thanks. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yep, you have a great day.
And then just a quick question of process,
I will get it to you. I can either, if you want to stay, you can stay, and I can give it to you for a week. Otherwise,
Okay.
I will
I'll
call you
sit.
this afternoon and
Okay.
let you know. And
I'll stick around. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks.
Okay, the county engineers. Morning, Shane.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Very good. Yourself?
Good.
So we just have the one item on the agenda today. We're requesting to use the municipal road funds to support the Daisy Lane improvement project in the village of South Russell in the amount of $128,855. That's money that has been set aside on their behalf, and they have a viable project that fits into the municipal road plan.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Aye.
Is that the total cost of the project?
I do not have the total cost, but no, it is not. Do you have the total cost there?
This, I don't have total cost. I just have that this is for, actually, no, it says final project cost $128,855 for construction improvement and repair. So, yes, it would be
Yes.
for the total cost of the project.
Absolutely.
All good?
Yep, thank you, Shane.
Yes.
Have a great day.
You too.
Planning? Morning.
Morning.
Okay. Sounds good.
This is a replat in Bainbridge Township of 2 different subdivisions, about a half acre is being subdivided off of sublot 6 in Bridgeway Estates, and then being consolidated with sublot 2 and 3 in Lake Lucerne to make the lot a little bit larger to accommodate a storage building.
Okay. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Aye. Sign that. Thank you. And Department on Aging. Morning, Jessica.
Hey, good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys as well. All right. So, 7 through 10 is basically a little bit of reorganization in our department.
We hired a new fiscal officer in March, and she is working out tremendously. I also had a resignation, a final retirement of my fiscal and eligibility specialist. She did a lot of the fiscal work as well previously, but due to our new fiscal and budget officer, we did not feel the need to replace the financial and eligibility specialist position when Bernadette retired with us. So we'd like to abolish that from our org chart, and we had the time to sit and think about what our department really needed. So we decided we do need a support services coordinator to assist with our food pantry, our in-home services, assist our fiscal officer with a little bit of the billing as well. So we did lower the grade down from a 10 to an 8 as well to move forward with this, let's say, replacement position, if you will.
Okay. Okay, so, well, I'll make the motion for 7 and 8.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Aye.
And then 9 and 10 is the changes to the org chart to remove that. 9 is to remove the position to make our org chart effective, and 10 is to post internally for the position for 6 days from the 25th to July 2nd.
Okay, I'll make a motion on both of those.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Aye.
Great, thank you all so
Oh,
much.
thank you, and thanks for the great job you're doing there too. It's been, I know you guys have really been staying ahead of this whole thing, and I really do appreciate it. I haven't seen you in a little bit, but thank you.
And
Absolutely.
big kudos to the Sheriff's Department. I don't know if you saw, they supported our food pantry that we have been doing since the COVID crisis. We're delivering 16, 20 lots of food to seniors in the community because they're still apprehensive about going to the grocery store.
No,
Some of them have,
absolutely.
Conditions, and they did a Fill the Cruiser campaign. And 2 gigantic loads of cars and vans full of non-perishable food for our seniors. So it was amazing. We've been keeping up with our Facebook page, so if you want to check it out, you can see some of the great pictures. So thanks to the sheriff and his staff down there.
Is the Meals on Wheels still operating?
We have never stopped Meals on Wheels. We've been going full force throughout this whole thing. Our volunteers, some of them dropped off. We have some senior volunteers. So some of them in the beginning wanted to drop off, but they're coming back. Our staff have supplemented, but nope, haven't missed a day. So,
Oh, thank
Great.
you.
thank you.
Yes. Department of Development.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you too.
Couple of items today. The first item is a hourly contract for technical and professional services with CT Consulting to help us finalize the grant projects from PY17 and then to begin to move forward on the approved projects in PY19. Those are the allocation grant projects that were approved last year by the state for the county. So actually these items kind of tie together because without a person running the Community Economic Development Department, I need help with this assistance with the technical and the professional services aspect of getting this grant work done.
Yep.
So I'm asking for your approval today on a contract that is basically not to exceed $3,000 a month for the remainder of this year. We'll come back at that point if we need to extend it.
Yeah, and I think I think it's a smart move because you're gonna have a world of, experience and people that deal with this all the time. So this will be I think you're gonna find this will be a good move. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Then the next 3 items are basically related to the restaffing and replacement hiring for the department. As you know, our program administrator resigned, and then the assistant program administrator, the program coordinator resigned. So what I'm doing now is asking for your approval to abolish an old position that we had several years ago now as the assistant director, and then move forward with the new job description for the director position, and then your approval to advertise for that position until it's filled.
Oh, is this the talking?
That's okay, go ahead.
The talking chair.
You could
I
answer
didn't
their
know,
questions.
I didn't know that was a talking chair.
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion on 12, 13, and 14.
Second motion.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Aye. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
And Maintenance Department? Glenn.
Morning.
So give us some good news.
I'm gonna stay here working with you.
Oh,
Okay.
Now, this is the, at DES, the AC unit went down there. This was put in 1985, this unit, so we thought we could keep it going for a while, but it's not. This is also, it's in the room where we're gonna put most of the unit on the outside, so we're split unit now. And a lot of this money we get from Perry also for upgrades at the DES, so this is, a lot of this money is not coming out. I put it at $25,000. Right now, the contract's for $23,000, just in case if we run into some problems or something, so there's a little bit of wiggle room
okay.
And this new unit will actually be more economical to run.
there. Correct, it's gonna also be gas,
Yes.
getting away from that electric, all electric down there, so, yes, it is.
I make a motion.
Second.
15.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Aye. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
Yep. Transit.
I am covering for
Okay.
Joanna this morning.
Sounds good.
This is just to request to increase the current advertisement for part-time drivers from 1 to 4. She's got a couple of her part-time drivers who have let her know that they're going to no longer be driving, so
Okay.
she's just looking to get it upgraded.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. And Department of Water Resources. Well, you came in at the right time, huh?
It's all about timing.
Timing is everything.
I was actually looking for
Morning.
Good morning.
Nice hat.
Making a fashion statement. I have 4 items today on the agenda. First of which is Water Resources requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with Jogga Coatings to perform several concrete leveling and coating jobs in the department for a period of 1 year in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
The next item, we're requesting board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the WPCLF loan agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency and the state of Ohio for Chardon Township wastewater treatment plant and sewers project in the amount of $583,635.61.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Aye.
Third item, we're requesting the board approve and execute the contract agreement with Trax Construction Company for the Chardon Township Berkshire Heights wastewater treatment plant and sewer project in the amount of $5,077,215.49.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Department of Water Resources requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the request for partial payment number 6 for Workman Industrial Services Incorporated for the Auburn Corners wastewater treatment plant upgrade and Troy Oaks wastewater treatment plant conversion project in the amount of $426,720.84.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Hey, great seeing you. Okay.
The next item is the contract with Donley's Incorporated for as construction manager on the new building, construction manager at risk. The contract is actually for 1.65 million, a little less than 1.65 million. A majority of that, about 1.6 million, plus or minus a little bit, is actually during the construction of the building. So we're not, even though, excuse me, even though we're authorizing that contract, we have the ability to get out of it if it doesn't. But what we're trying to do is get that building to get real numbers for construction. The bond market right now is still very much in our favor. We don't know how that's gonna handle out going out, but we wanted to get to a point where we can at least say, here's what the cost is gonna be with real numbers. So this will allow us to get to that point along with TDA and
Okay.
B5.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Aye.
Then the next item is agreement with, not agreement, but to execute the letter of engagement with Squire Patton and Boggs, who would be our bonding counsel if we did move that project forward, but they need to do a little bit of front work for us also.
So move.
Second?
Yes.
Aye.
And then the next item is the resolution that will fulfill our requirements under House Bill 481 for the CARES Act funding. This is the money that the state got that was supposed to be distributed out to the local municipalities that had fewer than 500,000 population. The legislature finally came to an agreement and the governor signed it. So this resolution is just basically saying that we agree that if we get any of that money, that we will utilize it in accordance with the CARES Act.
Okay.
So move.
Second?
Yes.
Aye.
And then the final item there is, again, following with that House Bill 481, the way the bill was written, we have to create two new funds that are separate so that when the money comes in, it goes directly into those funds. It doesn't get mingled with any other funds of the counties.
Great, great.
This is just creating those funds.
So move.
Second?
Yes.
Aye. Okay, meeting schedules, we've got NACOG, 624, Investment Advisory Board on 6:30 at 8:45 in the morning. And then we'll be back here on Tuesday for session. Just real quick, I just wanted to make a statement today. I was contacted last night that some of the local newspapers were putting out some kind of information based on a statement that I made at last meeting. And I think that it's a little bit frustrating on my part because of the fact that our media has our direct contacts to be able to call us at any time to clarify or to get a statement prior to be able to confirm prior to putting something in the paper. And I think that it's very irresponsible because the conversation and the statement that I had was part of a much larger conversation based on less lethal shootable situations. And that comment was directly related as a shootable situation for a less than lethal situational use. And I'm pretty disgusted with the media, with one of the reporters that was here that never even could approach me to ask me for clarity on the conversation, but yet just took it upon herself to basically write an article. Very irresponsible. I've been a police officer. I still am a commissioned officer in the state of Ohio. I can tell you this, that I come from a very, very diverse community, Shaker Heights, Ohio, which I was a police officer there. That and one other thing is, I have worked with black officers, I've worked with white officers, of all the things that I'm hearing about race and all of this stuff. I take it real personal and really, really disgusted because of the fact that we are people. This is not about race. This isn't about anything other than some civil unrest that is happening of criminal behavior. And our military deserves respect. The wall that was destroyed that we were talking about that had been vandalized, gravestones of military that died for the safety and welfare and our freedom that we are here for today. They and their families deserve better. And I tell you this, I will always stand for the flag. I will kneel only to Jesus Christ. And at the end of the day, we have rules, regulations, and laws in this country. And it's a situation that I think that people have to reach an understanding in where we're at in our country and our lives today to understand that I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to continue to see this civil unrest. I don't want to see people's businesses burned to the ground. I don't want to see people discriminated against. We've always done that. All the years of being a uniformed police officer, we never, and I can tell you never, went out on the road to say we're going to target somebody for whatever reason, religion, race, nothing. It was a matter of doing the job, something that we all took an oath to do. Are there bad apples in every field and everything out there? Absolutely. I don't care what it is. Doctors, lawyers, attorneys, nurses, police officers. You could go down the road and you're going to find somebody that is not good. But I can tell you this, I'm proud of our police officers, I'm proud of our military. I'm proud of being an American. And I think that at the end of the day, we need to all come together to be able to understand that this unrest needs to stop. And we need to understand that part of the biggest hurdle that we have is exactly what we just saw with a false report, basically, of something that I said that could not be confirmed or be able to be, officiated that this is exactly what I said, that somebody was not part of that conversation, and it was something that I directed actually with the sheriff because he was part of that conversation. And I take it real personal that if there's ever a time that something needs to get printed, you've got my number. You could call me on the night of the election to get my response, and you could call me when you have a question. I was very, very disappointed, very disgusted, and it's wrong. So with that, anybody else have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Anissa Smith.
Yes.
I teach at Kenston High School, and I've seen you before because I'm the PAC advisor for Candidates
Yep.
Night. And I had a couple questions because I read the article, and I would like some clarification
Sure.
on this. Commissioner, you said that I want to know, you called the kids in Chagrin Falls punks, the ones that were protesting.
Correct.
Do you know who these kids were?
Yes.
And why you would call them punks in
Yes.
Chagrin Falls?
Yes.
Who were they?
Well, it's I'm not going to put their names out, but they're a group of individuals that are known throughout the county that have done nothing but cause trouble and raise
Really?
havoc.
Okay, because
to
it's
a number of
interesting
people.
that you say that because they were some of my students, my former students, class presidents at Kenston, teachers that I know, pastors, and a school superintendent in Chagrin Falls, peacefully protesting. And that really upsets me that you would call them punks when I know them personally, and they are good kids.
They're punks.
I'm sorry,
They're
but they're my
punks.
students, and they have every right to
My
peacefully
children went to school in
protest
Chagrin Falls,
as your
and my
First
grandchildren.
Amendment right.
They're punks.
Your First Amendment right, freedom of speech, they did
That's what I'm having right
nothing to
now.
harm
First Amendment
anyone.
speech, right
They
today.
did nothing to harm.
All right.
They had
She
nothing.
has the floor.
Do you know of any vandalism that these students and these people did in Chagrin Falls?
So I guess I could tell you this, I applaud the fact that there wasn't civil unrest there, but it was just unfortunate that we had to take the measures with our businesses to have to be boarded up.
Don't you think you jumped to fear too quickly?
No.
Because in Chagrin Falls is a small town, so you're going to completely board up everything immediately because of that fear, because of that fake news, 24-hour news
Thank you.
cycle.
Thank you.
Okay, so could you
Appreciate
please listen, let me finish. That 24-hour news cycle is making all of us think that these horrible protests are going to happen in every county. I live in Geauga County. I've taught in Geauga County for 26 years. I don't see civil unrest occurring, and I feel that we jumped to fear way too quickly because of what we see on TV and that fake news cycle that everybody talks about. Because what are they doing? They're putting nothing but negative because that's how they make their money.
I could not agree with you more. This is the same situation as we saw in the paper. So I appreciate you sharing my frustration, and thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
State your name for the record.
My name is Kate Baker, and I am a resident of Geauga County and a parent of a high school student who has participated with other West Geauga high school students in small, peaceful protests in Chesterland asking for an end to racial justice and police brutality. It is an understatement to say that I am disappointed that our sheriff and this board are discussing using riot gear and you can clarify if you do not say this, chemical munitions against these peaceful protesters.
Yes, you're incorrect with that.
Okay.
The conversation was this. Number one, we have a duty to protect our law enforcement officers in the time of crisis.
Of course.
Okay? To protect all of us. The conversation was never did it come up, once again, irresponsible reporting of using chemical munition in Chesterland. This was a situation of purchasing riot gear, purchasing masks, purchasing chemical munitions. God forbid the time ever came to that. And that's exactly what the conversation was. And listen, I am really, really, happy to see you guys here, because maybe if you see how things get changed around and you see what our meetings are about, this is maybe what needs to happen, is people need to get involved so they understand what the reality of it and what we actually discuss. Because what you're saying was absolutely never discussed.
So you did not discuss funding chemical munitions?
And the sheriff is right there and he'll tell you the same thing.
I'm happy to hear that.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
No, thank you.
I would like to focus this not on inaccurate press, though. I would like to focus this
But
not on...
we're here because of the inaccurate
Okay,
press, correct
but
or
that's not my concern.
But am I right or wrong? You're here why?
I'm here because I'm concerned about your priorities. So
Right.
let's talk about that.
But you're concerned about my priorities from what? From the slanted press.
Okay.
Okay? So that's what I'm saying.
Can we make that a separate conversation so it doesn't muddle my points?
She made the exact situation, and you're making the exact situation. We're all correct in this,
Okay,
and I
please do.
appreciate that. There was one more question.
No, I'm not done. I have more
Okay.
questions.
Sure.
Okay. And I understand your point if you were incorrectly quoted. So
Yes.
please, if I bring anything up, let me know that that was incorrect. But that, and certainly correct that, but my focus here is not on civil unrest in other places other than Geauga County. So my focus is on your priorities and how you what you want to respond to the protest with, okay? So, and I wrote this so that I can be more clear and...
Yeah, I'm not quite understanding
Okay.
what your question is.
You said that we can all agree that these protests need to stop.
Yes.
These citizens are practicing their constitutional right to protest in the hope of fulfilling this country's promise of equality. Equality that through history, and most recently with the murder of George Floyd, has proven not to be afforded equally to people of color. That, you say it's not about race, when in fact statistics prove it is. The number of protesters, not rioters as you call them, in this county could be counted by the dozens. They held signs and remained positive despite being provoked by passing cars. And yet, I heard the choice from this board is not to make a statement that Geauga County stands with equality for all citizens, despite their skin color. Its response is not seeking actions meant to bring confidence that its policing will do all it can to hire, train, and expect fair treatment and de-escalation in crisis situations.
Okay, let me just stop you there, because we could go on until tomorrow morning. The reality is this.
And that would be
I
okay
don't-
to help your
Right.
community
And I can tell you
understand where
this.
you're coming.
There is one of the reasons that we're not making some kind of a statement here as to how, we're to run and all of this, diversity and everything else, because that is how we run business every day. And that is how we run our lives every day. We are not here to discriminate against anybody. So why would we need to try to reinforce what we do every day as a county and what we do as a group? So you know what the problem is? The problem is that I think that there's a lot of position and situation that people like yourself, and don't take this the wrong way, but people like yourself are expecting us to basically try to address issues that we address every day of equality. We're not black, we're not white, we're not green, we're not red. We're Americans, and we're human beings that live every day in this country. And at the end of the day, that is what we're about. We are not about having to say that we promote this or promote that. We promote that every day, and I have been promoting that for the past 8 years as a commissioner, for the past almost 30 years as a police officer, and for the past 50 years as a person, that my parents raised me right. So is there anybody else that would like to say? You're done. Can I?
Yeah, you
Yes.
can. I'm Jennifer Heights. I'm in Geauga County in Auburn Township.
Sure.
And it's interesting to hear all this because I'm going to piggyback on it. And
Sure.
appreciate hearing from you firsthand for the first time.
Yeah, no, thank you for
So
coming.
listen, I love America, red, white, and blue. That's who I am. I hear that's who you are too. And I'm proud to be a member of a community that feels the same way. So piggybacking off of that, I'm here because I understand that you have responsibilities on the various departments that had to come in and report today.
Yes.
And I really like what you just said about equality and equal justice is something you talk about and live every single day. So I want to ask you if it's possible then for us to consider putting together another community board representation group, like how you have here reporting to you. I understand they're paid officials. But couldn't we have a community relations board that is actively pursuing some measures of dialogue, communications, police with people, blue and black together, blue and red, blue and Polish, blue and, whatever you are together? Can't we be a leader in our state? Can we be a leader in the nation to say, you know what? We're going at this a different way. This is America anew, not new, a-nude America. And it is loud and clear we have problems. Our police department's getting hammered for it. Our people are getting hammered for it. And you know what? We need the good stuff to come out, gather around you, and you gather with it, and form a community to make a movement that is more proactive than reactive, or, in preparation, choosing reactive methods to de-escalate a potential fight.
Listen, I couldn't applaud you more. At the end of the day, I think that this is exactly our message. We stand behind everyone, and it's.
I believe that.
And what you're saying is 100% right. Something. Take our sheriff's office for example. These are guys that have families that live in our community.
Absolutely.
That the same school that
We couldn't
you
agree with
teach
you
at.
more in that. We
are-
appreciate everything
exactly.
that the sheriff's
So
department
what
does.
you're saying is you are totally right, and and once again, we have a situation where I would tell you that it would be virtually impossible to find a police officer in this country that's going to support what happened to George Floyd.
Well,
Okay?
then say that.
So
Say that. That would be great to say.
I just said it. I just
Yeah,
said it,
that's
and I don't think
great.
that any police officer would
saying that
say
for
that.
months. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like this: two wrongs don't make a right. So we understand that that's a bad situation, but all of a sudden, how about all these people that have been injured, killed because of this?
But you can
Police
be a
officers
person
killed.
who believes in both of those things. I completely support police and what they do. But I also am very concerned about some of the injustices that are occurring. We can be a visionary of both of those things. You can believe in both of those things.
Listen.
If I may finish?
Sure, go ahead, one more thing, and then I'm gonna have to tell you to sit down, so.
Oh, I get to go? Okay.
Sure.
So what I want to end with is saying it's a visibility issue, and I know you do the Maple Leaf. I don't know what other papers you do.
We really don't have a good paper in this county that
And
reports good
maybe,
news.
and I don't know who your communications relations person is. I don't know if you have an outreach, do you have an outreach person?
I mean, we have,
So our outreach person perhaps
Jerry Morgan
could.
is our county administrator.
Just so you all are aware, there is somebody in the room that is Facebook Living all of this conversation.
I'm sorry.
In front of you, just
So-
so you are all aware.
Okay, so all I'm suggesting, my final note is as you move forward and you put these proactive and progressive steps in place, make it really visible. Make it really, really visible so the public's hearing about it.
No,
And you'll
thank
get more
you.
support.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sure, ma'am.
State your name. Yep, my name's Lindsay Pollock, and I guess my concern is hearing you say everything you've just said about living that life every day and believing that and having that continually implemented, but then the very first thing you responded when she started speaking was that the people at the protest were punks. So I'm curious, as a leader for the county and making a statement like that, first of all, what made you think that? And then also,
And I guess I
why?
could, I'll answer this like this and save you a lot of time. The situation is this, is I know of, and I had some previous conversations with some people, and that was, the whole thing about the chemical munitions. And there were two people specifically that are major instigating punks. Bottom line, punks. And
Were they at the protest?
yes, they were.
Wait, can I?
Okay,
get-
but why are you
Wait.
What they do is
Can I
they
have
try
this
to
first?
instigate a problem, okay? And listen, none of us are against any kind of peaceful protest. But when you put some punks like that into it to try to start problems, that's exactly what they're gonna say. And I'm not gonna rescind what I said.
Why don't you say those two people were
are
punks?
punks. And
Not
what
the
they do is
whole group.
I
end
think
up
that is part of
instigating
the problem,
everybody
though,
else.
because when you make a statement like that,
I understand what
that's
you're saying.
generalized,
You're generalizing
it's
the
really
whole
hard
entire
for
group.
the
Thank you.
audience to
I
know.
will take your information.
And I
We
think-
have
I'm a
one more
teacher, that's
question.
who I am.
Wait, I'm sorry, I had one more thing to say. My other, so the response to that is that it's important to make sure that it's clear what you're stating, especially in the leadership position, right?
And I think that what you need to also say is it's important that the media states the truth also
Absolutely.
when they're saying it.
100%.
Will they do
Wait,
a
you guys,
retraction?
hold on, can I have the floor? Okay.
I don't know if they'll retract it, something that's, it's a very one-sided situation in this life that we're living in.
But so
and you know
even
that.
here today, I just want to make sure that you realize the responsibility you hold in
Absolutely.
addressing and making sure it's clear to those of us present that
Here's
that's.
the thing is, we don't have the control of controlling what they
No,
print.
but I'm
So
saying, even when you
it
just
comes
said,
out-
yeah, they are punks, and then they took me to ask the question
Right.
for you to
So I'll
clarify that it was
clarify.
only two
Two
people.
of the individuals that I know that were
Not
there
the crowd
that
of
caused a lot of problems are
100
punks.
people or whatever was there. And then the other thing that I wanted to
You said
mention.
two questions, so you're done.
Okay.
Mr. Newell.
I live in South Russell,
Yes.
and South Russell will not recognize the POW MIAs.
I'm sorry,
And they
what's
won't
his name?
recognize the first
I can't remember his first
responders. They refuse to fly the flag.
You didn't
My
say our
name's
names.
Noel Howard, I live in Chagrin Falls and South Russell. My children and grandchildren both went to school in Chagrin Falls. And I'm upset because they won't show the POW. 58,000 men died in Vietnam. I was there at the time, and nobody cares.
So
We
can I
have the
tell you something?
POW,
Let me
we
just
have,
stop there, because I heard you last week talking about this, and I
and
think you all got
it's
your
still
point.
the same. They won't put the flags
I
up.
totally agree with you. So what I can tell you is this lady that's sitting next to you with that patriotic shirt on, she is exactly the person that you need to talk to and have her organize something to go in to talk to those city officials, because that flag should fly, and it should fly high.
I can take care of it myself.
Thank you.
I don't need any
Well,
help.
I'm just saying, if you do, she's there for you.
Thank
So
you.
with that, I would request a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Thank you.
I move to
Thank you.
adjourn.
Seconded. Amended. Approved. Done.